Welcome to Scott's Music Cave. In this video, I'm going to feature this 1919 Conn baritone saxophone that's been highly modified, and I'm going to talk about the saxophone in general and then plus all the modifications that has been done to it years ago. And let's get started. I recently purchased this saxophone. I bought it from the estate of the person that I got the Mark VI from, and I'll link that video at the end. And this was just one of his doubles that he had, and I don't know any story behind it, and I don't know why, if he bought it this way or if he bought it and had it modified. But what I do know is it's had a lot of modifications done. This is a New Wonder 1, and originally the saxophone would not have came with a high E or high F, and somebody modified it. It's really interesting, and they did a really nice job. That's not the only thing they did. They actually changed the octave key mechanism. They added some bracing. They changed some other key work, and I'm just going to talk to you about what all they did to it. So we'll start at the neck. You can see, if you're familiar with 12Ms, that the octave key is on the neck, like a 12M. And they've actually filled in the octave key pip here, so that's where the octave key used to be. It used to reach around and you'd have to align that neck perfectly, and so now it's just a lot more user friendly. And actually, so they did smooth that pip off and then put it back in, and then I guess looks like they probably used a little piece of brass rod or something and then soldered that rod in. And I'm guessing somebody had a parts horn or they just ordered the parts from Conn. Although some of the parts, I just don't know if some of the parts are, like this post here does not look like a Conn post. So I just don't know if maybe at some point this post got knocked off and somebody had to make one or find something that worked, and so maybe that's why that post isn't right, and that key has got quite a bit of play. Of course, I don't know if that's just because the horn's 100-something years old. So they modified the neck. This is the original neck. It does have the original serial number on it, which is 50,000 something. And let's leave the neck off for a minute because we can look at the octave key a little easier. They did leave the original touch piece. So the 10M would have had a more of a curved, contoured type piece that went around the thumb button. Although I kind of think these feel better than the maybe not, but they do. There's nothing wrong with those. Not something I would want to change if I had one of these. Or I guess I do have one, but I don't know if I'll ever overhaul this thing. They're pretty complicated. I mean, the 12Ms themselves are complicated. This one has some of the keywork is even more tricky, and I just don't know if somebody wanted to buy it and then have me overhaul it, I'd love to do it because I think it would be probably a really fun playing saxophone. So they did change some of this octave key mechanism out to accommodate that octave key, but they left the original octave key pip in the original location. On the 12Ms, they're more up in this location. Also, this does have two braces on this neck branch here, which those weren't put on until probably the 1950s, I believe, and so that leads me to believe this was probably done in the 50s. And knowing the player, I think he probably would have bought it in the 50s, and either he bought it done or maybe had it maybe something he had earlier and then had it modified. It does have a two-piece front F, which is on the later 12Ms, which I'm not sure if they were doing that in the 50s even. So I know they weren't doing it in the 50s. Maybe late 50s, they had a two-piece octave key mechanism. And this work here is a little crude. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not super finished like a factory type job. And there's solder. Like it wasn't. I mean, it's fine, but it's not a super clean job. And the other really interesting thing, it has a front F key, which these weren't put on until probably I guess the 12M is when they started doing the front F key. Now the upper stack on these are pretty wild. Like this C sharp key There's 3 different rods for the upper stack, which is, I mean, some of these old horns are weird, but this is really what really got me is the C sharp key is on the same rod as the octave key pip, the side C, and the side B flat, and they for some reason thought let's throw the C sharp on there. What I mean, why put it on the same stack as the rest of the keys? Okay. The B flat, and G are all on the same rod, and then it's also the A key is on a separate rod, which is, I mean, it's an old design. That's how they did it. That's how Conn thought, or was able to put this horn together and think that's how we're going to do it. It feels fine. I mean, you wouldn't play this horn and think, oh, that's something's up with that A key. There's really it's really pretty functional, and they are hard to set up. There's kind of some weird stuff going on with this. You can see that well, first of all, you can close the C sharp key with the G key, which is really unusual. I'm sure, well, it's early enough that Conn was just trying things, and that could be handy for some altissimo, or if you wanted to trill C sharp with the G key. Okay. But the adjustment mechanisms, actually, the adjustment mechanisms on the upper stack are more friendly than on the 12M. The 12M have a bar that goes underneath the keys, and especially the A key is really hard to adjust on the 12s, or they're hard to adjust. They're tedious. Moving on, the side keys are pretty wild. They're okay, they're not pretty wild, but you know. They're quite a bit different than what the 12M looks like, if you're familiar with the 12M. I am going to do a video and compare the 12M to New Wonder 2. The lower stack is quite a bit different than the 12M. And again, this actually is a pretty user-friendly way to adjust, to allow adjustments compared to the 12M. So the lower stack I actually really like. So I was talking about how they added this high E. So down here it appears to me that they took the post off and added, and I'm sure they did this because, and actually let me look, because I have a 12M right here that I'm comparing as we go. I'm not sure why well, let's see. Okay, they had to do this because even if they had a 12M parts horn, this post wouldn't have worked off of the 12M. They had to modify this post, and it's kind of the same type of post up here. It's just not a Conn post. So and it's got a lot of key play. Of course, like I said, the horn's old, so who knows why. But they did have to move this touch piece. It would have been more down here, and then the side keys would have been, let's see, yeah, the side keys would have been lower as well. So they did have to move this touch piece, and for some reason they left the spring perch, the original spring perch, and then moved the spring up here, which isn't even how they would have done it from the factory. So I'm not really sure why they decided to abandon the original spring perch. Or maybe at some point somebody just changed the spring and decided, it's a little too long. Let's just leave it long and use that key for the spring perch. I don't know. One of the other modifications is they changed out this G sharp touch piece. So this would have originally had a curved touch piece, and they changed it to probably just off of a 12M. I mean, it's smooth like a later 12M would have been, and it's got I think why they did that is because it does have the plate on the back to catch when you press the low B flat, C sharp, it activates the G sharp lever, and originally it wouldn't have had that. That was not done until the 12M was produced. So yeah, quite a bit of modifications. I mean, I could see someone just doing the high E and F modifications, but to do the octave key and to do the G sharp key. Oh, and then I don't know if I mentioned this. The palm keys were all changed out. So I did mention that it has a 2-piece front F like the later 12Ms, but they also changed out the high D and E flat to the 12M style or later New Wonder 2 transitional type palm keys. Now correct me if I'm wrong on some of this stuff, because I know that, Conn changed so much stuff over the years. I know I don't have every piece of information 100% correct here. I'm going off memory on a lot of this stuff. But I don't think these palm keys would have been like this until the New Wonder 2 transitional, but maybe they were like that on the New Wonder 2, but I don't think they were. Correct? Tell me in the comments if that's wrong. And then if you see anything else, definitely correct me on that, because there's a lot of stuff going on with this saxophone. Let's see, anything else? Still has the wire bell brace, which was, of course, typical on these. This saxophone's really straight. I was looking at it before the video, and I think there's been a little dent work done here before it was re-lacquered. You can see it had some nice engraving on it. Well, it still does. It's just been buffed over. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, I don't see like where the bell flare has ever been damaged, and really any major dent work. Definitely looks like the E-flat guard's been soldered. Probably the low C. Who knows? Where this horn's been. The neck is really straight, and the neck branches, which is easily the neck branches, there is not a ding on these things. This horn was definitely well taken care of, and then, of course, it was re-lacquered, and I'm assuming all the work was done and then it was re-lacquered. Pearls feel good. They got a little bit of wear on the pearls. And this horn, I don't know if I've even tried to play this horn yet. It might sort of play. So that's it. Let me know what you think of this beast. It's pretty interesting. It's very interesting. It came with the original case. I think it was the original case. Man, I think it's been lightly buffed, so I don't really think it's. That engraving looks really good. You don't really see too many of these older instruments that have been re-lacquered that look this good. Usually they've been like, it'll be an old school horn that's been re-lacquered 15 times and dropped off the bleachers. Yeah, body's bent on it. The body does have a little bend. So, I spoke too soon. Thanks for watching. My name's Scott Reed. I'm a woodwind repair technician. I buy, sell, trade, and collect musical instruments. I play music professionally. Now, I have a YouTube channel.